The Biden administration apparently not very concerned with surging gas prices. Gas-guzzling private jet owner and climate czar John Kerry is once again pushing climate alarmism.
If unabated fossil fuel is allowed to grow in these next years in a significant way, as it appears poised to do, that is a deep, unbelievably costly challenge for the world.
All right, Dana, is climate change a deep challenge for the world?
It's a challenge. It is. There's a lot of challenges, like so many, as we were talking about the to-do list the other day. I think that having somebody that flies around on a private jet talking about reducing greenhouse gas emissions is maybe not the best messenger. And I understand that it's a problem. I also understand that you can't change the laws of physics. I think it's wonderful to have innovation and to encourage people to try to do things. There's some really interesting things going on with fusion, for example, but they're taking one issue and going to create another one, which is they have the fossil fuels and greenhouse gas emissions problem that needs to be dealt with. Okay, but now pushing so quickly to have electric vehicles, and also doing all the subsidies so that rich people can have electric vehicles, like a Tesla, for example. The rare earths that are needed in order to make that happen, all those minerals, you think you're going to have climate problems, you're going to have environmental problems, you have geopolitical problems that come from that as well.
Why don't they see that stuff, Joey? I see you laughing. Why don't they anticipate that?
This is a divisive issue. Really, that's what it comes down to. You got to be on one side or the other. What I want to know is how many of the Keystone Pipeline workers have learned to code?
Yeah.
How many of them have been rejobbed, like we rehome a pet?
Yep.
How many of them are making $100,000 a year in a green energy job now? Probably not many, because they still come on here pretty pissed off about how things went down with their job and taking their livelihood away from them. You cannot be the party that touts being the party of the downtrodden American who's had, a terrible go at it, and be the ones downtrodding them, be the ones pulling the rug out from under them. Listen, I'm a conservationist, but the line between environmentalism and climate change, the religion of climate change, that's a broader gulf than any of us can reach. Those are two very different things. There's a difference between understanding the need to conserve our resources and trying to shove this down our throats to the point that, Clay Travis was on TV this morning talking about he watched someone put 1 gallon of fuel in their car for $4.59.
Yeah.
Because that's all they could afford.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about Republicans sweeping House. Not only are you pushing voters towards Republicans, you're pushing Americans away from even believing in climate change or wanting to support it. That's what's so ironic and dumbfounding about this.
One of the things that Jen Psaki says, Harold, is that we're not holding back any drilling. And yet apparently the climate advisor also says that Biden is committed to opposing any additional drilling. Do they even know what their position is as it relates to drilling, other than that they're appealing to the left?
We should be drilling. We should be building nuclear. We should be fracking. The reality is climate change is real. But to Joey's point, we have to be thoughtful and serious about how we make that transition. The war in Ukraine obviously has made this a far more relevant and poignant conversation. But for the life of me, this conversation, this moment, screams for just some sanity. To your point, you don't have to be this way or that way on this. We could both say that you're conservationists and we want climate change, the realities of it for us to address. We want electric cars and to build batteries. One thing we should realize, China's building all the batteries, and it's 10 years from now, we're going to have this issue. So we can't just abandon it altogether. But Democrats, I listened to my friend Fred Smith last night on Brett Baer's show. He said that President Obama said to him at one time in the White House that my poll numbers correlate directly to oil prices. I need not say much more. If we find ourselves in a bind come November, we could really be in a bind if we don't look as if we're trying to address this issue.
So I imagine, Greg, that you agree that the climate change is not the existential threat that they say it is.
I think it is a challenge that we will be facing, but a lot of the solutions that are coming from the left are unreliable, whether it's solar panels or windmills. I mean, look at CNN Plus, how much money they invested in wind power by hiring Chris Wallace. So anyway, I'm going to defend the president. While we're talking about this, he just, I guess, funded a $6 billion effort to save distressed nuclear power plants, to secure our energy supply.
I'm on board.
So that's a great thing, which I think, when you talk about having Republicans and Democrats, the mom and the dad in the same room, that's what you get. You get a solution where, like, both can agree, like, nuclear power is essentially going to be our future. We're just got to admit it at a certain point, but they're going to start building them. Rolls-Royce is going to be building these smaller plants, and they're clean, and we're all going to live with unicorns in clouds.
Okay, there you have it. All right.
Yes.
Ahead, Mike Tyson punches out a passenger. The shocking video and more coming up in the fastest.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.